Electric motors, you're probably starting to see something like this bolted on the front of many boats nowadays, and it's becoming an important question. Are they just an expensive toy, or are they now a boating essential? Today we're going to run through what they are, how they work, and more importantly, how I use mine in just an everyday boating scenario. Let's get into it. Now, before we get right into it, we should probably discuss what an electric motor actually is and why they were designed. And for me, two words come to mind: precision and stealth. When it comes to precision, because I've got 360-degree control through this joystick remote here, I can maneuver this boat with a lot of accuracy, way more than I'm ever going to get with an outboard engine. And when it comes to stealth, it is an electric motor. There's no petrol involved in something like this. It's connected to a lithium battery, and it's also a brushless motor, which means it is ultra quiet. You put those two things together and you have a really precise, stealthy and quiet way to navigate around an estuary just like this. And as you'll see a little bit later, can be really important in some scenarios. When it comes to the operation of an electric motor, it is super simple. It's stowed along your gunnel just like this when you're driving. When you want to use it, you just put your hand or your foot on that lever and it smoothly slides into the water. Once it's locked in place, you pick up the remote control and now you have 360-degree control from that joystick there. You've got power on, power off, and there's a bunch of other features on here, but we'll chat about that later. I'd prefer to show you that out there. So some of the features that you'll see on the remote is firstly power on, power off. As soon as I press that, we're starting to move with the motor. Then when you steer it, you've got this joystick control here where you can go in any direction you like and that motor will respond. This feature here is the anchor lock feature. As soon as I press that, this boat is now going to be positioned in the exact same spot within a foot for as long as I leave it there. You've got power up, power down, and you've got some programmable keys on the back. But pretty much that is it. This allows you to completely control this boat simply from moving your thumb up, down, left, and right. Now this is a really great example of where I would use an electric motor. So you'll see here we've got a moored boat. We've actually got a few moored boats here. I'm gonna have a bit of a fish around them. But what I can do now, if I was using the outboard engine, I'd be in reverse, in forward, in neutral, trying to keep myself here. But with this electric motor, I can just easily navigate my way around this boat. And you can see how quiet it is. There is no noise involved in this at all. And I can get really close and I don't have to panic because I've got 360-degree control over this boat. As soon as I want to make that turn, I just make incremental changes to that joystick and it will just slowly turn me around that. So if in a situation like this, I wanted to fish all of these boats, I can do it so much easier with a motor just like this. If it was in the outboard engine, it would be noisy, it would be clunky, and you just wouldn't be able to do it. So if you're like me and you love fishing boats like this, I can get myself in the perfect position and get a few casts in and around it to hopefully catch a fish. Now, another scenario where an electric motor is going to be super handy is exactly this. I've got a run-in tide at the moment and it's running at about 4 knots. Now, if I were to put my outboard engine into neutral, we would very quickly drift away with the tide and end way down there in a matter of minutes. But if I use the electric motor and show you the anchor lock function, which is going to keep me held here, even though the tide is coming in, you're going to be able to stay here for as long as you want and either recreate, swim, have lunch, or fish. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Check this out. So we've got this marker behind me here for reference. You can see how much current is coming off it. I'm just going to nose up to it with the electric motor, and then I'm going to press. In a couple of seconds, I'm going to press anchor lock there like that. It's going to turn around. It's going to take 1 or 2 seconds to find its position. And then you'll see here, instead of drifting way back down into the estuary there, it is now going to do its thing. The motor's just kicked into gear now. I can feel it. And now that is going to hold us here and we're not going to move any more than a foot from exactly this position. So that is a GPS function that keeps us here for as long as we want. And think about how cool that is. We don't need an anchor. We don't need the outboard engine. All we've had to do is click one button. So if you were to, with the kids, you want to jump in and have a swim, you want to fish this bank, there's so many different scenarios where you can use that feature. And if you look at that marker behind me, we have not moved, and I'm so confident that we won't move for at least 6 or 7 hours, or as long as that battery is going to last. Now, there's no doubt that the majority of people that do own an electric motor are fishermen and women, or anglers, anyone who likes to get out and chase a fish, usually on lures, but bait also, and that's because of the advantage that it gives you on the water. Let's take this scenario right here as an example. I've got a dirty water line running straight down here. I've got fresh water pushing in this way and an incoming tide pushing in that way. And I really want to work the edge of that dirty water line. But if I didn't have an electric motor, I would drift away from it just like I am right now. I haven't got this engaged very quickly. But with this, I can creep along the whole of this line, fish every inch of it, and that'll give me the best chance at catching a fish, or at least putting my lure in the zone, because we know how hard fishing can be at times. So I'm gonna put the drone up and show you exactly what I mean so you can see the difference in water and how this helps me. Check this out. There's a bite, got him on. And the plan came together. We're just fishing this water line, and I'm just using the electric to cruise up alongside it, and there was bait everywhere on the sounder, and I really wanted to stay in this area because I knew there was fish and there was bait around, and I've gone and got myself a little snapper. Check that out. It's by no means a big fish, but come here, mate. It is my first for the day, which is always a good sign. And that just shows, put this fish back in the water just for a second, and that just shows exactly the use of that motor. I wanted to stay in that area. I was able to do so, and then I've caught a fish within 2 or 3 casts. So I'm gonna hang around here for the day and have a bit of a fish, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into how they can help you catch, I would say fish like that, but I'm hoping they're a little bit bigger. We'll keep trying. Well, it worked again. I just released that little snapper, and there's clearly fish in this area. They're holding here, the fresh water's pushing in with the salt water. You can see the amount of water movement that's in the area. There's bait busting up around us, and that's all good signs to be wetting a line. And when you do find an area like this, you want to stay in it, and that is exactly why I use that thing right there. See if I can land this fish. Here he is. I don't have a net on me today, which is a bit risky. There it is, I'll show you what this looks like. Well, that's a nice chopper tailor, they call them. There's clearly bait in the area. These guys would be harassing it. I can see them busting up on the surface. So I'm gonna hang around here because I'm having a lot of fun now, and that is what being out on the water is all about. I think I'm gonna have another cast. Now, as handy as electric motors are, they aren't for everyone because there is a pretty hefty investment involved in getting one of these. To get yourself set up with a saltwater unit with a battery setup like I have, you're looking well over $5,000 or $6,000, maybe even more if you need someone else to install it. So that's a big consideration, particularly when you've got to put it on a boat that might have already cost you upwards of $10,000 or $20,000. If you're someone like me, you do a lot of lure fishing, you're very active on the water, you like to get to hard to get places and explore all the nooks and crannies, then for me, they're an absolute essential. I would be putting one of them on every single boat that I get. But if you're just someone who comes out every now and then with your friends and family, you just like having a swim and exploring your waterway, and you probably wouldn't put yourself into a hardcore fishing category, then it's probably not worth the investment. But it is completely up to you and how much you're willing to spend on your boating experience. There's a fish right there.